All right, continuing on here with Digital Trends Live. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. There's a new film that debuted on Netflix on September 17th called Residue, and it tackles the story of a young filmmaker returning to his old neighborhood and finding it gentrified beyond recognition. Joining us now is the writer, director, and producer of Residue. We have Merawi Gerima. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Appreciate seeing you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I wanted to start off by saying, hey, congratulations on this movie. I know it's your first feature film, and it seems like you're credited with pretty much everything short of starring in it. And I wanted to ask, what were some of the biggest challenges you had in getting your first feature film out?
I mean, obviously, we didn't have much money, and I think the economic challenge of bringing a film of this kind of magnitude, to life was a big one. But I think what we lacked in resources, we made up for in community. Engagement and community power. It really was community filmmaking that made this possible. And outside of that, everything that went wrong could go wrong, which is fine. I think that we developed a really great mantra of just allowing the imperfections to seep through into the project. And so you'll see as you watch many, imperfections. It's not a polished Hollywood film, but I think that's part of, the allure.
Well, and it's part of tackling a really important issue, and I wanted to ask about that, to just kind of get into a little bit of what this thing is about, gentrification being a very big centerpiece of it. For you, how close to home was this story? Was this something that was developed off of a personal experience, or I guess where did the inspiration come for this?
Yeah, I mean, it comes out of my experience growing up in Washington, D.C. Jay's character is very closely linked to my own life experiences. I think that it was important for me to document the changes that my city was going through, especially the way I saw it in 2016, the amount of, kind of really eradication of the community which I came up in, really necessitated the story of this magnitude. So that's kind of what really pushed us into the production. I just think that outside of that, it was important for, me to also just kind of flex my muscles and trying to make a film fresh out of film school, or while I was still in film school, and really kind of see what we could come up with in a sandbox type of environment where we had nobody to answer to and just could freely create.
Well, going from that, I mean, talking about, really kind of grassroots making this film, saying just coming out of film school and not having a lot of those resources, you've now got it on Netflix, which is huge. What was it like when you got that news, and can you tell us a little bit about that distribution side of things?
I mean, it was incredible. We had our world premiere at Slamdance in January, and we invited Array to one of our screenings, because they'd be in town for Sundance and Slamdance in Utah, and so they came by, and we just been talking ever since, and that was, I think Array is easily the best place for this film to be, just because we're so kind of kindredly oriented, in terms of bringing Black stories to life and pushing them as far out as possible. And Array's, Ava DuVernay and Array, they also are not strangers to, making do with minimal resources. If you just look at how a small outfit like them can produce and magnify stories to the degree that they do, it's really incredible, really, when you think about, kind of what they're up against in the film industry at large,
Well, and to talk about that too, I think it's important to bring those issues to light so that everybody does know, what are some of the obstacles that you've faced and that these films face in getting to these wider audiences?
I mean, well, we know, despite the, success of, films like Black Panther, I think that many distributors still lack the imagination required to see the, commerciality of Black stories. And I think that it's very possible that had Ava, and Array not existed, a film like this would not be distributed. We'd be hard pressed to imagine it being on Netflix, through some other means, and I come out of a family of filmmakers. Both my parents are independent Black filmmakers who never had opportunities like what I'm seeing now. When they were, fighting to tell Black stories in the 70s, 60s and 70s, they had to self-distribute all of their films, which is incredible, brutal work, and I think that just seeing, me now and the opportunities that I have now, they're just like, yo, thank God for Ava, because this is really, this is new. This is very new.
Well, and it's great that it's getting out there and that, you don't have to go through all that stuff that they went through. I can't imagine going out self-distributing a film in the 60s and 70s, even without the internet. That's just sounds exhausting. Going from this to, and now that you're you know, you've got a movie on Netflix, you've got a film on Netflix, which is huge. What advice would you have for other young filmmakers out there who kind of want to follow in your footsteps and want to get their stories told and seen?
Well, I think I have to be honest and say that we were never at any stage, you know, really thinking about where the film would end up. You know, we had no festivals in mind. We had no distribution in mind. We just knew that we had to get this story out by any means necessary. And so, you know, I think had we been thinking about where we would end up or going to Sundance or Slamdance or whatever else, I think that we would have been restricted in our creativity, worrying about, you know, what these places want, you know, what type of stories they want to see rather than what type of stories we wanted to tell. But you know, if there's one piece of advice, if I'm someone who can give advice, you know, if there's one film, if there's something I would say, it is green light yourself at all times, under all conditions. That was our mantra through the project: is wait for nobody, wait for nothing, just do it. You know, and wait. Don't hold off anything, waiting for somebody else's permission. You know, that I think that was what allowed us to really persevere under the incredible kind of circumstances under which the film was made.
Well, for everybody out there, obviously Residue on Netflix right now. Where else can they follow you and everything that you've got going on?
Well, you know, I'm on social, Gerima_gang, Gerima is my last name, _gang on all socials. But also, you know, anything Array is doing, you can follow them. You'll see me, you know, tied up in it, Ava DuVernay as well. And my whole team, we all, you know, deep on social media. So, you know, come find us.
Nice. Well, Merawi Gerima, thank you so much for joining us here, for being on the show. Appreciate it greatly. And congratulations on the success of what you've got here. Powerful film. It's important. It's on Netflix, so people can go watch it very easily right now. It's there. So thanks so much for being here on Digital Trends Live.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you so much.